This year marks the 200th anniversary of the publication of Frankenstein, and Mary Shelley's tale of mad science and the living dead still has as much impact today as it did 2 centuries ago. With that in mind, we're going to take a closer look at the ghostly circumstances that led to Mary Shelley's writing the novel, as well as explore the author's little-discussed true-life obsession with a severed body part. Greetings and welcome to the History of Fright. I'm your host, Michael Verratti. Much of the lasting appeal of Frankenstein lies in the fact that it showcases the power of genre as a mechanism for critique. More than a mere monster story, the novel unfolds as a social commentary of the era in which it was written, using the otherness of Dr. Frankenstein's ghoulish experiments to examine the ongoing debate of God versus science that was so prevalent at the time. But, despite its lasting impact, did you know that this zeitgeist-changing novel initially was spurned to life not by mad science, but a bet? In 1816, Mary Shelley traveled to Lake Geneva with her husband, famed poet Percy Shelley, to spend the summer with another acclaimed writer, Lord Byron. The summer itself proved to be dreary and full of rain, a perfect setting for a horror story, but not so much for a summer in the sun. The group found themselves stuck indoors for much of the vacation, and in an era before TV or the internet, they had to find other ways to entertain themselves. Respectively already known for tales of the tragic, fantastic, and strange, Lord Byron and Percy Shelley would entertain the household with extravagant ghost stories, many of which were written or created on site. It became a game of one-upsmanship. Who could tell the spookiest tale? Kind of like an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, but with some very fancy-pants people. Entertained by the stories, Mary Shelley wanted in on the action, but allegedly, as the days passed, found herself with writer's block. Every morning, Byron would ask where her ghost story was, and to her dismay, she often had to answer in the negative. Then, one night, an offhanded comment about the reanimation of a dead body ignited a spark in Shelley, and by morning, she had crafted the narrative for the tale that would become Frankenstein. Regaling those gathered with her vision, there's no question that Mary Shelley's became the most notable story to come out of that dreary summer. Not bad for something that was literally born out of a challenge between friends to scare each other to pass a rainy day. With the encouragement of her husband, Mary Shelley would take her tale from that summer and expand it into the book that we all know and love, leading to its publication in 1818. What's more, for this singular sensation of a novel that was born out of a summer crafting tales, Frankenstein is widely considered by many historians to be the first horror novel. To write such an enduring classic and make history all because of a spooky story challenge? Not bad if you ask me. Did I mention Mary Shelley was 19 years old when she did it? Makes me feel like we all need to be a little more productive today. Since its publication, Frankenstein has permeated popular culture, inspiring numerous film adaptations, TV shows, video games, comic books, and even several musicals. From Boris Karloff's iconic turn as the monster in 1931's Universal Monster movie to Hammer Films' long-running franchise starring genre legend Peter Cushing as the Wicked Doctor and beyond, we've had 200 years of stitches and body parts permeating our lives, and it's safe to say the landscape of genre is forever altered because of one woman's deliciously wicked vision. And, lest you think Mary Shelley's horror queendom begins and ends with Victor's monster, allow me to share a quick anecdote before we head off into the night about the author herself that is particularly intriguing, because it is not so much horror fiction, but horror fact. Upon the death of her beloved husband, Percy, the poet's body was cremated, but for some reason, his heart refused to burn. Some doctors suggest this is due from calcification from tuberculosis, but let's not worry about the details and focus on the fact that Percy's body was incinerated and his heart remained. Alerted to this fact, Mary Shelley demanded to keep her husband's heart, and from that point forward, she carried it around with her until she died. Later, when friends and family were going through her possessions, they found Percy's heart stashed in Mary's desk, wrapped up in one of his poems. Which honestly is pretty hardcore. And speaking of hearts, Mary Shelley may have had her dead husbands, but she also continues to have all of ours as Frankenstein's legacy endures. At 200 years and still going, the novel's questions of the nature of humanity and what makes a monster are as relevant today as they were 2 centuries ago. So, as we head into this Halloween season, just remember that sometimes you can't beat a classic, and that maybe that spooky story you're planning to share at this year's party may be the beginnings of something greater. Happy 200 to Mary, the Doctor, and the Monster. Here's to a celebration that will leave you in stitches. Until next time. Thank you for watching History of Fright. Please tune in next week and we'll have more spooky facts for you. If you want more horror content, please visit our friends over at Dread Central. And as always, please follow Gamma Ray across the web.